Now to that major ruling in the Ghislaine Maxwell case, a judge ordering the release of what could be thousands of pages of documents from a civil case against her. And those could include names of high-profile people who socialized with Jeffrey Epstein. Janae Norman joins us now with more on this. Good morning, Janae.
Hey, Cecilia. Good morning. That civil case was settled back in 2017, but a judge ruling just yesterday that the public is legally entitled to access dozens of previously sealed records from the case. Some of those documents are said to contain the names of hundreds of people who spent time socializing, traveling, or working with Jeffrey Epstein over the course of more than a decade. This morning, as Ghislaine Maxwell wakes up behind bars in a Brooklyn detention center, associates of Jeffrey Epstein may be on edge following a bombshell court ruling. A judge deciding Thursday that dozens of documents at the center of a 2015 case involving Maxwell and Virginia Roberts Giuffre should be unsealed, including transcripts from at least one of Maxwell's depositions in the case, which her attorney says contains, quote, extremely personal and confidential material. Giuffre alleges she was abused as a teenager by Maxwell and Epstein and directed to sleep with Prince Andrew, allegations he denies. Giuffre telling BBC Panorama,
I knew I had to keep him happy because that's what Jeffrey and Ghislaine would expect from me.
The sealed records are said to contain names of hundreds of associates of Epstein over the span of more than 10 years. Some of Epstein's famous associates include former President Bill Clinton, British Royal Prince Andrew, and President Donald Trump, who had an eyebrow-raising response when asked about Ghislaine Maxwell this week.
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
This coming on the heels of another major revelation. According to federal prosecutors, Ghislaine Maxwell is married, but she's declined to provide the court with the identity of her spouse. Maxwell is currently held on charges related to facilitating Epstein's sex crimes.
Maxwell played a critical role in helping Epstein to identify, befriend, and groom minor victims for abuse. In some cases, Maxwell participated in the abuse herself.
And more than a year after convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in a Manhattan jail, his mansions in both Palm Beach and New York City hitting the market for a combined $110 million. The real estate postings giving a new look inside the expansive properties, but leaving out one detail, that Epstein was the previous owner. And Maxwell's lawyers plan to file an emergency appeal to keep those documents from being unsealed. If they fail, we could see them come out as early as next week. Maxwell has pleaded not guilty to all the criminal charges against her. Cecilia.
Hey, Janae, thanks so much. Let's bring in Dan Abrams now. Dan, good morning to you. So let's break this down. We're talking about unsealed documents. What do you think might be in them, and anybody who might be mentioned in them, how nervous should they be?
Well, look, the people who are mentioned in the documents ought to be nervous, but not because they're going to be released next week. What the court is basically doing here is saying, yes, I am ruling that this is going to be released if there is no appellate decision that overrules me. But any of the names in there are going to be informed that this is going to be made public, and they'll have an opportunity to challenge that. So at least for now, anyone who's in there, and there are over 100 names that are referred to as John Does, will get an opportunity to make an argument about why their names shouldn't be made public. So far, there have only been 2 people notified. Apparently, neither of them have objected, so their names would probably be released. The person who's got to be most concerned here is Ghislaine Maxwell herself. This is going to be numerous depositions that she did in the context of this civil case, and it'll involve some very personal stuff about her, including about her sex life. You may even see in there elements of who she may have had sex with, but without naming that person, which would still stay redacted until the person had an opportunity to respond.
And her team said that they didn't want this release to happen because it would make her her ability to get a fair trial. It would infringe on that. Is that true?
Yeah, well, look, that's always an argument that defense attorneys make, that any information that would be harmful to my client makes it really hard for me to get a fair trial. It's also not typically a winning argument. There are always ways when you're looking for jurors to find people who haven't been following cases like this that closely, particularly when you're talking about, the details of what was released and what it said People have a lot of other things to do in their lives. And in case after case I've seen in jury selection, they're able to find people who have not followed these cases so closely. And most importantly, the legal standard is that they haven't developed an opinion about guilt or innocence.
Dan Abrams, good to see you this morning, my friend. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.